Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I am ready to drop on you my new Swarmblade Tornado build. And I have to say, I think we've created something pretty special here. Now as always, we will go over gameplay, skills, passives, gear, and of course, break down that character sheet. Now if you just want to bounce around, everything is timestamped in the description below. It also has a loot filter and a build planner. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now the skills I'm going to be using are Ice Thorns, Tornado, Maelstrom, Swarmblade Form, and Serpent Strike. Now, you as a Swarmblade don't do a lot of damage. Maelstrom does not do a lot of damage, and Tornado does not do a lot of damage. What this build does is it builds Maelstrom stacks and makes lots of tornadoes, and the Maelstrom and the tornadoes cause lightning strike. So Swarmblade casts tornadoes, Swarmblade casts Maelstrom, and those two skills working together cast lots and lots of lightning bolts. You will see right now in this arena. Here we go. So right now, I'm just gonna showcase off Maelstrom, and then we will move over to Tornado. So I'm just flying around. We're just a curious little bug. Flying around, we already have 12 stacks of Maelstrom. Just flying around. Haven't even started doing anything. So you can see that the lightning strikes, for the most part, are killing everything. Obviously, the larger enemies takes a couple more hits. But if we wanted to, we can take them out. Now, I'm going to switch over to hitting, which will give us our tornadoes. And what's great about Serpent Strike is it gives us a kill threshold. There's nobody strong enough that can stand long enough for me to make tornadoes. And the tornadoes wander everywhere, and anybody getting close to the tornadoes will also get killed. Come on, give me someone harder to fight. Now what we'll do after this is we will fight single target. We'll go in and fight a shade, and we will see what that looks like. We created this build off stream, or during stream, last night, and we were able to put it together with, well, not very good gear, in about 2 hours. It is not what I envisioned, but it feels pretty special. And it's very, very, very tanky. Okay, let's fight the shade. Single target time. Should do pretty well.
You're bound by the same chains, traveler. Why do you resist? What?
See, now you get a good sense of just how many tornadoes you can make on single target.
Take that.
Why do you resist?
Why do you resist?
Dude, there's so many tornadoes I could barely see them. So amazing, obviously, at killing multiple targets, and pretty darn good against single target, because Maelstrom is beating down on them, and then all the tornadoes are beating down on them. Let me show you how to recreate this build. Starting off with skills, and we're just going to go right down the line, starting with Serpent Strike. I will give you 1 second to screenshot it. And moving on. Now, you don't do a lot of damage with Serpent Strike, but what this is going to do is give you life back, give you kill threshold, give you lots of survivability, and attack speed. We're using a staff for this, so you need to stack a lot of attack speed because you're not going to get it on your weapon. You want 3 into Culling Point, 2 into Devour Prey, 1 into Plaguebringer, 4 into Spear Flurry, 6 into Primal Reflex, 4 into Blood Fury. And I will explain Primal Reflex towards the end when we break down the character sheet, and it'll show you how much survivability you get from this. Okay, moving over to Maelstrom. Give ya 1 second to screenshot it. Moving on, you want 4 points into Whirlpool, 1 into Turbulence, 2 into Calm, 1 into Windswept, 1 into Wind Flurry, 4 into Turmoil, 1 into Sleet Footed, and then right here, these 3 is all of your damage. This is what you saw at the beginning of me flying around just killing stuff by doing nothing. 1 into Power of the Storm, 3 into Strong Tides, 3 into Energized. Now you do want to put points into Turmoil. If I had 1 more point here, I would put it into Turmoil. That makes it so you have a larger area. The lightning strikes will only hit enemies inside the area. And of course, it's going to be very easy to keep 6 stacks up, so you'll have Haste and Frenzy, again, more attack speed and movement the entire time you are playing. Moving over to Ice Thorns. This has kind of become a staple skill when you only have 4 skills. So if you only have 4 skills, you don't know what to do with the 5th. Most people will use Ice Thorns because it auto procs when you are hit and gives you survivability. 1 second to screenshot it. Moving on, you want 3 into Dagger Thorns, 2 into Bramble Armor, 4 into Spell Thorns. This will give you a total of 40% chance to auto cast when you are hit. 1 into Philly, 1 into Thorn Barrier, 5 into Bark Shield, 3 into Eternal Protector, and 2 into Bulb Shield. So if you get hit, it is going to trigger this, which is then going to give you more survivability. Okay. Moving down the line to Tornado. 1 second to screenshot it. Moving on, you want 4 into Lasting Storm, 1 into Charged Storm, 4 into Frequent Lightning, 3 into Overcast Skies, 4 into Lasting Storm, 1 into Aspect of the Storm, 4 into Gust of Renewal, 3 into Storm Dervish, and 1 into Swift Wings. So I ended up actually pulling 1 point out of range and put it into Swift Wings so I can keep my Aspect of the Storm up for a little bit longer. This allows you to have increased attack speed again when you are using tornadoes. So you have attack speed on Serpent Strike, 20%, 16%, attack speed while you have Frenzy, and then attack speed when you have Aspect of the Storm. Now, just like Maelstrom, right here is all of your damage. Charged Storm, Frequent Lightning, this is what's going to cause the lightning strikes to come down from your tornadoes, and partnered with Maelstrom, it's just going to be like beams everywhere hitting. That is the majority of your damage. And if you don't really care about Aspect of the Storm, you could totally take this 1 point out, put it back into Overcast Skies, so that you have a little bit longer range on your lightning. But since you're a melee hitter, normally everybody is close by. That is personal preference. Last but not least, moving over to Swarmblade. I'll give you 1 second to screenshot it. And moving on, pretty much you're going to take this middle run. Now it's pretty cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Within 7 points, you unlock 3 skill trees. Now, obviously, you want to put more points in there, but this is the way you want to take it. You want 1 point into Viper's Call, 3 points into Endless Pressure, 1 into Windful Strikes, 3 into Army of Tempest, 5 into Locust and Agility, 4 into Water Strider, 1 into Ironclad Beetle, very important, I'll explain at the character sheet, and 2 into Wasp Flight. Now, at first I was like, oh, let's try and make a crit build. I didn't really like it. Let me try and make a physical build. I didn't really like it. What really made this build sing was finding the lightning strike while you are in Swarmblade. Now, this right here is what's going to make you cast tornadoes, Windful Strikes, and by putting 3 into Army of Tempest, it's going to cut it in half. So really every 3 stacks is going to cost a tornado, and you're going to hit so fast, even with the staff, you're going to be casting lots and lots of tornadoes, like you saw when I was fighting the Shade of Orbis. And then every time you dive, which is very often, you will get 4 stacks of Maelstrom. So for using it every time it resets, you will have 12 stacks up at a time. Those are the skills. Moving over to passives, and right now my druid is level 95. Level 95. So you want 20 points into the base tree, which is the minimal. You want into the natural attunement. This build is totally focused around attunement. 1 into primal strength, 5 into hunter's restoration, and 6 into wisdom of the wild. Remember, You're now focused on spell damage instead of physical damage because all we care about is those lightning strikes. You then move over to Shaman. And in Shaman, there is lots of lightning damage, but I realized that it cost way too many points of investment. So we ended up re-speccing out of here. So all you want is 8 points into Infusion, which is going to give you lightning penetration and more attunement. Staple for Druid, you then bounce over to Beastmaster because you need Aspect of the Boar. So I've got 8 into Yersin Strength, 3 into Feline Bond, 4 into Boar Heart, and 5 into Porcupine Constitution. These two combined are going to give you 31% damage reduction to nearby enemies, and then a little extra dodge rating. Again, I'll explain why dodge rating is so important at the end. Your last 60 points, if you're level 95, will be in Druid. I have 7 points into Plating. I wanted to get exactly 60% to Endurance. This is what got me there. So if this is just kind of a throwaway, if you have really good gear, you could save these 7 points and you could put them somewhere else. Towards lightning if you wanted to, or maybe towards rage DK, but I took Plating. 7 into Primordial. This is going to give you damage and more penetration. 7 into Druid Prowess. 4 into Focus Wrath. This is what I needed in order to stay in Swarmblade the entire time. 5 into Wind in the Leaves. 5 into Bush Stalker. 10 into Harmonious Wisdom. Jump all the way down here. 10 into Hide Skin. And 5 into Impervious. This is also going to make you take an additional 20% less damage per stack, or when you reach maximum stacks. And Hide Skin is going to give you tons of endurance threshold and a big boost to health. Those are the passives. Moving over to everyone's favorite gear, starting with idols, and I cannot stress this enough. The gear I'm using is stuff that I had laying in my stash, stuff that we gambled and crafted on, and stuff that we found over a 2-hour period of stream. And we are still absolutely crushing with this build. It could be pushed so much farther if you had the right gear. Now, the main idols that I would be looking for are these: increased spell damage while transformed. Increased spell damage while transformed. The rest of the ones I have are just critical strike and vitality. And then we've got some more health, and then a couple ones in here to round out my resistances. My idols aren't that good, but try and get spell damage while transformed, okay? Moving over to gear, there's nothing required for this build. We were using dual wield at first, and then we switched over to staff because I needed the adaptive spell damage to really get the lightning hitting stronger. For a while, it was just beating on the same people, and then it really took off once we upgraded our weapon, okay? So I will go through the items one by one. Helmet, attunement, and leech to keep us alive because you are hitting. Amulet, lightning penetration. Armor, attunement, vitality, health. Weapon, spell damage, lightning damage. And then this is a perfect rolled adaptive spell damage and +1 to elemental skills. Amulet, or ring, attunement. Belt, lightning. Ring, lightning. Relic, endurance. We need a better relic. Boots, movement speed, attunement. And gloves, melee attack speed, attunement, and hybrid health. That is the gear. Moving over to the character sheet. Now, I didn't mention it during the gameplay, but on top of all the damage you saw this build do, it is very, very, very tanky. You're gonna hear it here first. This Swarmblade is more tanky than my werebear. I said it. Okay, right now we have 29 points into strength, 77 points into attunement, and 24 points into vitality. On top of that, our movement speed is 52% while we are in Swarmblade Form. On top of that, you are going to have haste the entire time from Maelstrom. So you're going to be able to move really, really fast, and you have a movement skill in Dive. When you look at our resistances, Fire's maxed, Necrotic's maxed, Void's maxed, Poison and Physical is basically maxed, and Cold and Lightning are very close. And again, this is only with 2 hours of farming for gear requirement. It would be very easy to tweak this. Take a little out of Fire, take a little out of Void, and you should be able to get the rest very easily. Now we're going to move down to armor. When you are in Swarmblade Form and you hit, your armor will go up very quickly. 48% to armor. Obviously, we came out of form because we're not actually hitting an enemy. But the reason why that is because in your skills, you take Beetle. And what Beetle does is change all your dodge rating into armor. If you remember correctly, not only did we take 5 into agility, which gives us 200 armor and 200 dodge rating, but under Serpent Strike, when you hit, you get plus 62 dodge. Okay? So just taking Serpent Strike, Reflex, and Swarmblade, Agility, and Beetle, you are going to have almost 50% to armor. But that is just one of your survivals, okay? So, you've got fast movement speed, you've got max resistances, you have 48% to armor. On top of that, you have maxed endurance, 60%, endurance threshold over 600, crit avoidance over 100, and life is pretty good. You're sitting at 2,000. I know a lot of people like, oh, you're not at 3,000, you're at nothing, but you're going to be leeching life. You've got endurance threshold, you have resistances, you have armor, and you have crit avoidance. But you're still not done. Even with all of that survivability, you have a new skill. Oh, good, my face isn't covering it. In Impervious. Your melee hits have a 20% chance to grant you a stack of Impervious, causing you to take less damage from hits, but you lose a stack when you are hit, and you lose all stacks after 10 seconds if not gaining any stacks. So this is going to give you less hit damage per stack, 40%, which is 20% less damage you take. So 20% less damage you take with 5 stacks of Impervious. And don't forget, under Beastmaster, you have 16% less damage from nearby enemies and another 15% from Aspect of the Boar. So Aspect of the Boar, yours in Strength. I just really want to hit home. Impervious, Resistances, Armor, Endurance, Endurance Threshold, and Critical Strike Avoidance. It is a tank. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. I want to know your opinion. What do you think of my Tornado Swarmblade? Is there anything I missed to push this to the next level? Let me know in the comment section below. If you haven't had a chance to join the official Action RPG Discord, please do so. We're now over 1,200 members. Great conversations every day. The idea is to create a gaming community that could jump from game to game together, so you never start the server alone. Link for that Discord is also in the description. On top of that, I think it's now 18 build guides from 083 to 084, and I think this is my 5th build guide for 084. They are all linked in the description below and broken down on playlists on my YouTube channel. So if you're looking for anything, join the Discord and let me know, or search there. Maybe you'll find the build you're looking for. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.